North Korea fired two short-range ballistic missiles towards its eastern coast in the direction of Japan yesterday. It was the sixth missile launch in just 12 days. Well, Japan's Prime Minister Fumio Kishida said it cannot be tolerated. Well, let's speak now to the Asia Policy Fellow and Korea expert at the Chicago Council on Global Affairs, Karl Friedhoff. It's great to have you here on Sky News this morning. Thank you for joining us. Now, the main question is why? Because this is not the first time that North Korea has fired a ballistic missile over other territories. In fact, it's built quite a reputation for doing so. Why does this insist on this path?
So part of this, is what we're seeing. Today they announced that one of the reasons they had launched this missile was the fact that the United States, South Korea, and Japan were conducting naval exercises, anti-submarine exercises in the region, and also that there was a U.S. aircraft carrier there. So they announced that this was why they had done it. They felt that this was a threatening move by the United States, South Korea, and Japan. But it's better to think about this as just the catalyst. If there were no exercise ongoing, then of course North Korea would find other reasons to launch missiles, and we're going to continue to see this. So I think that's part of the message here. Number one, this isn't new. Two, this isn't over. There will be future tests. And number three, there's not very much that the international community can really do to stop them.
And it's very interesting there. You mentioned the US and South Korea and some of the operations that were carried out previously, because North Korea may argue that actually their actions are in response to the recent naval exercises conducted by South Korea, the US and Japan. They could argue that actually they're being provoked.
Sure, they're always going to make that argument. But again, if those exercises were not ongoing, they would still be testing. They're bringing new technologies on board. They want to make sure that their missile systems and weapon systems work. And this is part of that process. The other thing I think they want to do is they're trying to normalize their weapons programs. In the past, any of their missile launches would have been condemned. They always gathered a very loud media response that saw these kind of featured in a way that they're not now. And so in some ways, the more that they do this, I think the more that the world stops paying attention. And that's not to say that this is a cry for attention. I don't think that's it. That kind of infantilizes them and makes them seem childish, which certainly they're not. But it's more about, number one, responding to what they see as a provocation, but at the same time, testing their systems and making sure that everything is working.
And Karl, what's alarming actually is the point that you made that they will be carrying out further ballistic missile tests, and you're saying that the West cannot stop them. But surely something must be able to stop them. Can it? What can stop them?
Well, first, not only further missile tests, I think there's great expectation that there's also going to be a seventh nuclear test. When that is going to happen is unclear, but it looks like late October, perhaps early November, is the window that others have identified as being the most likely. And as for what can stop them, I mean, there's really little that the international community can do, short of perhaps trying an invasion or going into North Korea to start a war. And that is nothing, that's certainly not what anyone wants. There is no one in the United States or in South Korea or in Japan who is really calling for that. So unless North Korea decides on its own that it's going to stop, there's very little that we can do.
My goodness, that's a grim outlook there. Karl Friedhoff, thank you very much indeed for your time. Ukraine's president says his forces have liberated 3 more